Sent them forth to preach, and to have power to heal sicknesses and to cast out devils. And Simon he surnamed Peter. And James the son of Zebedee, and John the brother of James, and he surnamed them Boanerges, which is the sons of
Welcome to Bible Minute. I'm Mark. I want to do something a little different today. Read a quick scripture, and then I want to go into an update on where we're at. Isaiah chapter 13. We're going to start off with 6, 7, and 8, and that's it. Howl ye, for the day of the Lord is at hand. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. Therefore shall all the hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt. And they shall be afraid. Pangs and sorrows shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth. They shall be amazed one at another. Their faces shall be as flames. Okay. I said that I just want to briefly go over what's going on in the world right now. This is crazy. I mean, when you add everything up, I've got a bunch of little articles. I'm just going to read little articles with everything that's going on right now in the world. They had the earthquake in Morocco a couple days ago. After I'm filming this, there's almost 3,000 people dead. They haven't had an earthquake in those areas in like 102 years or 104 years. It's crazy. The problem is those buildings out there are made of stone and they're not very earthquake resistant. So yeah, they suffered badly. We have had floods in Italy. Ice ran down the main streets of a few towns. They had hail-sized, or softball-sized hail fall and torrential downpours. Beijing just got like almost a foot of rain in an hour or something like that. And it completely flooded their subways. Russia's had some flooding. There's earthquakes everywhere. Anyway, just like a woman giving birth, and when it comes closer, her pangs come closer and closer, just like it says in the Bible. And I just want to show you a few things. Right now, in case you didn't know, I don't know if you could see that or if it's backwards, but I'll read it to you. The doomsday clock has been moved to 90 seconds. It was moved back in January. That's the closest it's ever been to midnight since its inception in 1947. It's supposed to tick the end of the world. I mean, so we're so close, it's pitiful. 90 seconds, that's just crazy. We're getting earthquakes. Back to the earthquake in Morocco. It's sad because I looked up, most of those people are Muslim, and it's been heavy on my heart. I mean, Morocco reports that 99% of the people are Muslim or Islam and practice that religion, and they don't know Jesus. So when they were killed by the earthquake, they woke up in hell, and that's been weighing on me hard. I mean, talk about a dose of reality. Anyway, let me get back to some of this stuff. Earthquakes, disasters, thunderstorms, and floods. In 2023, the U.S. has been out over $110 billion above the average that they normally have. That's just crazy. I mean, earthquakes in 2010. There was a big earthquake in Haiti. 160,000 people died. That was the 8th deadliest earthquake in recorded history. There's been earthquakes in China, Indonesia. Everyone knows about the one in Turkey that killed 50. I got so many numbers here. Here it is. It killed over 50,000 people, and 445,000 were injured and stuff. It's just. Whew. Severe thunderstorms. Has anybody noticed that the thunderstorms are getting more severe? Getting lightning shows here that I can never remember growing up. And they're way, way more powerful. I go out and watch them sometimes, and they're just flickering and flashing. Not like heat lightning. Like, I mean, this is some serious stuff. And it's already knocked out my air conditioner. I've had to replace capacitor in it. We're getting more power outages. I hardly ever get power outages here. And that's just in my area, let alone across the USA. It says that thunderstorms in the US this year have caused 35 billion, which is up from 25 billion, which was last year, this year alone. We aren't even done with this year, 2023 yet. I mean, it's just crazy. They said severe squalls and hailstorms have been hitting Texas unprecedentedly. We've had tornadoes in January, which is strange, all over the United States. Yeah. Let me go with some more here. I printed up a bunch because I want to wake everybody up and show them what's going on in the world. Everyone says, oh, everything's continuing on. It's just the news reporting stuff. No. We had five hurricanes at one time in the Atlantic Ocean alone. We had a hurricane out in the Pacific Ocean that fanned the fires in Maui. We've had Hurricane Lee, which we just had. Thank goodness it's dwizzling out and it looks like it's going to be a big fish storm. It is the fastest growing hurricane in history. It reached Cat 5 faster than any hurricane ever in the history. And people say, oh, this is just normal. Yeah. Crazy. Normal. I don't remember this kind of stuff. In 2020, we had the Colorado wildfires. That burned over 454,000 acres burned. That was the three largest fires in the state's history. Canada, unprecedented wildfires could soon get worse. If you look at a map, it's like all of Canada's on fire. It was so bad that New York City, the sky got red. I mean, it's crazy. We had the smell of smoke down here and haze for days in my area. It's Ecuador is having serious gang violence, which is not a natural disaster, but they're having serious people problems down there, basically. The Maui fires. How big are the Canada fires? Okay, back to that. It says 153,000 kilometers. It's bigger than the whole state of New York. Wow. That's what's on fire. That's the actual fire itself. Not that it's devastated, the actual fire. I got a little map here that kind of shows it. It's pretty wild. There was fires in British Columbia. 35,000 people were evacuated. And this is all like this year, a lot of this. I'll tell you the year if it's not like the 2010 thing. British Columbia was on fire. 5,881 fires have been recorded across the country. That's about 1,000 more than last year. 1,000 more. Yeah, here's a map. Here's a map. This map right here, that map right there shows the Canadian fires. I mean, look how that the red's the fires. Not what it's destroyed. That's the fire. Actually burning fire. Yeah. 15.3 million hectares have been a hectare. Well, I've converted it. 37.8 million acres of land have been destroyed. That's 10 times more than 2022. They had fires. Yeah. It says right now that they have more than 1,000 active fires still burning. Back in March 2023 is when this all got started, they said. And then it's gone crazy. A lot of experts are saying, this is from ABC News. ABC News. It said that the wildfires could actually get worse, and that's as at the end of August has been reported. It says because of the dryness and the wind. Because I got so much to read, I'm just gonna zip through it. Tornadoes. This is good. Most tornadoes last less than 10 minutes. The average distance a tornado travels, based on the path, the length of data since 1950, has been 3.5 miles. So when a tornado lands, it lasts for about 10 minutes and it builds a path for about 3.5 miles. So you need to know that because of the next fact. In 2023, there was so many tornadoes, they equaled up more than 100 miles. And the tornadoes have regularly exceeded the average length of ground time. That means they're exceeding the 3.5 miles. So they're staying on the ground longer. Yeah. They keep track of all this stuff. Approximately 67,000 tornadoes have touched down in the United States since 1950. So, it says the data recorded between 1950 and 2021 is just 1 in 1,000 tornadoes cover more than 100 miles. The tornadoes have regularly exceeded the average length. So that means that for every 1,000 tornadoes, there's some that travel 100 miles, which is crazy. That's a big tornado. But it also says that they're lasting longer. Isn't that interesting? Tornadoes are lasting longer. Yeah. We had 39.4 tornadoes in January. They had 2.2 fatalities. In February of this year, 2023, that's where I'm reading, they had 36.1 with an average of 9.1 fatalities. They had 80.1 in March tornadoes with fatalities of 8.1 and 182.4 tornadoes in April. The average is only 22. Wow. In May, they had 264.8 tornadoes in May, with the average of 16 fatalities. 212 in June, with the average of 1.8 fatalities. July was 118.8. And 81 tornadoes in August, with an average of 9. That's the first 3 months of 2023 averaged the entire year we normally have. Isn't that interesting? And we ain't done yet. Whew. I mean, when you research this stuff, it kind of wakes you up. I mean, it's scary. It really is. The news doesn't report this. They had a rainstorm in Haiti that affected the communities and flooded it so bad. They caused flash flooding. They had floods in the Dominican Republic. Haiti also had a cholera epidemic outbreak that killed more than 50 people. And it started spreading. Argentina, they've had massive floods. What's it say? It estimated it affected over 4,000 families, causing power outages, road closures, and contaminated water supplies. Ecuador was struck by several simultaneous disasters. They received floods, landslides, building collapses, hailstorms, earthquakes, all in their country. So yeah, that's happening. Paraguay. In February and March, heavy rains in northern Paraguay caused severe flooding, forced families to abandon their homes, paralyzing key infrastructures and industries. Uruguay. Uruguay is currently experiencing widespread drought due to lack of rainfall, so they're having a drought. Oh, Chile. Chile's on fire. In February 2023, strong winds and high temperatures caused dozens of forest fires across southern Chile. They also had some in December of 2022. They actually almost wiped out a city. More than 5,000 people were affected and displaced by the storms. Yeah. Oh, okay. Let's go back a little bit here. The 2004 tsunami wiped away towns. 230,000 lives in a matter of hours. Yeah. That was one of the deadliest of all time. Indonesia. They're having earthquakes there. And the floods. Man. The city of Banda Aceh, northern tip of Sumatra, okay, has the wettest tropical cyclone in the state history. Wow. It's crazy. California reports, Gavin Newsom reports that he had a wet cyclone to hit Southern California. It was the first tropical storm to hit in 84 years. That was a hurricane that changed into tropical storm. It was life-threatening. They had flash floods, and they had lots of tornado warnings. The Navy actually pulled all their ships out of San Diego Harbor because of it. It says they deployed the National Guard and everything. In the meantime, Death Valley was the hottest place on the earth. It beat where the equator is. So we're having it all. I mean, some of this stuff I just... Somalia. They're having a hunger crisis. Now, I looked this up. The difference between a famine and a hunger crisis is... It's almost stupid. It's like a famine is when a certain amount of death hits the people, and that's considered a famine. And a hunger crisis is like you're still alive and we're helping them, and they're, so it's like it's like the same thing. To me it is, at least. But anyway, it says they're unprotested. They had a really bad drought and a hunger crisis. People have already lost their lives to starvation, and the country is on the brink of famine. See? This is no natural disaster, they say. But, hey, food production has declined. Ethiopia. A drought. Yeah, they had the worst drought they've had in 12 years. It affected 24 million people. It says at the same time, there are various conflicts across the country are disrupting lives and preventing humanitarian organizations from delivering aid. So people are dying. Whew. Let's see, Afghanistan. An entire population is pushed into poverty. Yeah. It says it's pushed in there because the situation in East Africa was so severe. Talks about the economic collapse there, causing problems. The Democratic Republic of Congo is now having all kinds of problems. They're having a lot of conflicts over there. The different groups or factions are fighting amongst each other. There's a huge crisis. It says they've been dormant for 10 years and they started fighting. The M23 group launched a new offensive, started in late 2022, and they're still fighting it. But actually, Congo is also having a break of measles, malaria, and Ebola. Imagine that. Okay, let's go somewhere else. Yemen. The failed truce could lead to renewal conflict. The crisis in Yemen is deepening as the 8-year conflict between armed groups and government forces remains unresolved. While the ceasefire reduced fighting for several months, it collapsed on October 2022 and failed to mitigate economic consequence for the conflict. Humanitarian funding has lagged. As it stands, 80% of the population lives under extreme poverty, and 2.2 million actively are malnourished. And they can't get through because they still are fighting. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Syria. Years of war triggered a health crisis. Over a decade of war destroyed Syria's health system and left the country on the brink of economic collapse. A decade of conflict in neighboring Lebanon has further increased food prices and poverty. Currently, 75% of all Syrians are unable to meet their most basic needs, and millions rely on humanitarian aid. I got a picture here of a Syrian lady getting water out of a tank. It says 47% of Syrians rely on alternative and often unsafe water sources to meet or complement their water needs. But this lady is getting water from a safe source, I guess. South Sudan. Climate change compounds the legacy of civil war. Oh yeah, they've been in civil war for a long time. They're still recovering for civil war that ended in 2018. I remember. Yeah, it says while the conflict has decreased, localized fighting remains widespread. Yeah, I've been hearing a little bit about that on the. It says climate disasters include severe floods and droughts. They can't even get food, so they're reaching starvation. Haiti. Gang violence and climate change could combine for chaos. Haiti makes it into the top 10 watch list as political instability and gang violence surged in the following assassination of President Jovenel Moïse in 2021. Armed gangs regularly take control of distribution routes, causing shortages. So basically they're robbing the distribution of food and stuff, causing people to starve to death and possibly even die. And then we got number 10, Ukraine. The war creates the world's largest displacement. Yeah. The most corrupt country in the world, and we're supporting him in America. I don't understand that. I just don't understand that. Any country that has a election that puts their people that run against them in jail is not democratic. What country's doing that right now? Us, the U.S. We're prosecuting who? The guy that's running against Biden. Imagine that. Well, yeah, in Ukraine, all he did was jail the guy that ran against him, and his family, and his grandparents, and their parents, and all their kids. So, yeah, that's Democrat. Yeah, look into the history on that country. Okay. Around 9 million people a year die of hunger or hunger-related things. So that would consider famine and hunger crises and stuff like that. Or people not having food because of the distribution. So that's 9 million. And it is predicted to raise in 2023. They don't even have the numbers yet for some of them. It says the following countries have been gripped with famines, actually considered famines. Afghanistan, Haiti, Myanmar, Yemen. Millions of people already experience famine-like conditions. Food insecurity is like hitting Central America, especially with their 2 deadly hurricanes in 2020. Wow, that's crazy. Whew. Yeah. Here's another report on food shortages. The last large-scale famines affected the Horn of Africa around 84 and 85. In 1992, North Korea. In the mid-90s, since then, only one large-scale famine has occurred. And that is the devastating food crisis in Somalia in 2011 that killed over 250,000 people. Yeah, so we can just go back 10 years and see it. So when you add all this up, the reason why I read all that to bring people up to speed is look at what's happening. And look how fast it's happening. Like as if a woman was pregnant in travail. The birth pangs get closer and closer and closer and closer and closer until she delivers. The same thing's happening now with the natural disasters and the man-made disasters and everything. So look around. Pay attention to what's going on. Don't just sit and watch the news. Do a little research. You can see things are speeding up. Things are getting worse. You can't tell me they're not. Like I said, when I go outside and I watch lightning storms in the sky with no thunder that are just phenomenal. I mean, a light show that I have never seen. Lightning shooting across the skies. Not just lighting up clouds. Like when I was little and I remember heat lightning. You know, a little bit over here and then maybe a little over here. No, this is like lightning bolts shooting across the sky with no cracks of thunder. Really weird stuff. And then one night we've had thunder that rolled. I mean, just a roar of thunder that lasted over 45 minutes at my house. I ran outside. My neighbors, we thought a tornado or something was coming. It was just thunder. Crazy stuff like that. I mean, I'm getting torrential downpours, hail. But that everyone says, well, that's normal. Yeah, in springtime, not in summer. And we're getting, right now we're in we were just came out of an unprecedented heat wave that really put us in a serious, it was hot here. Now it's cool in the 70s. I mean, we was in the 90s and 100s before. And it's back to normal. But I mean, we're getting, I mean, like I said, when it rains here, it pours for like 20 minutes. It's just, and everything floods. It's just, yeah. It's not normal, people. It's not normal. Just like having tornadoes in January. Not normal. It's too cold. You know, this last year, we got 2 inches of snow, maybe 3 tops. I didn't have to shovel my driveway. Yeah, it's crazy. Look at what's going on. Start looking around. Add it up. We're getting closer. That's what I'm trying to show you. Read your Bible. Pray. Well, I've rambled long enough. I know this is a long video, so God bless you. Keep the faith. Until we meet again, this is the Bible Minute, and I'm Mark.